we very much live in a data world right now where money is made because of data. Amazon has 182 data points on you. They know you better than you know you.
A lot of people, they think they have to make guesses, or they think they have to, go through this entire process where you just ask them.
The best question you could ask anyone that you are getting to help you grow your business.
Welcome to the Wealthy Business Podcast. I'm your host, Javi Chavez, COO of seven to eight figure companies at Pineda Company with Ryan Pineda. Super excited to be here. I have my co-host today, Buck, who's been absolutely crushing it in the media and just the general entrepreneurship space. Super excited to dive into a lot of his experience and what he's done. So without further ado, hey, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you, man. We're like Ryan and Kelly. Look at this co-host.
I love it.
It's like going live. We need our own TV show, I think.
Yeah, I think by the end of this, I think we might have a lot of magic in the making. So
Season
I'm excited.
1. This is season 1.
Yeah, this is the pilot. So
true. Thanks,
cool.
Man.
Yeah, so for people who don't know, I don't know a whole lot about you.
Sure.
So yeah, can you give us like the breakdown?
I used to be really famous in radio.
Yep.
But if you're young, you'll be like, what's radio? Like young people they don't listen to radio, right? Because they get music on YouTube and Spotify. I started with iHeartRadio when I was 17 years old.
Wow.
And I was in Tampa, Florida. Got my first show in Vegas, actually, believe it or not. This was the year 2000. Moved to Vegas. iHeart brought me in to do a night show. We tried to crush KLUC with Kiss FM with Rick Dees in the morning.
Yep, I remember that.
We couldn't do it. We were here 4 years and then bailed. KLUC is still the king of top 40 in Vegas. But then I went on to LA. I worked with Ryan Seacrest for a few years before Idol, before he was famous, and syndicated to a bunch of markets around the country. It was called The Buckhead Show. That's what they called it.
Okay.
And what I really learned was digital was creating more success than traditional. So traditional being TV, radio, newspaper, billboard, outdoor. Digital being apps, social media, anything where there's a presence on the go, anything mobile. And so I sort of transitioned out of radio and I accidentally built my own agency. I was working for CBS at the time and they said, hey, we've got this client coming in, the Detroit Tigers, Major League Baseball. They're curious. Can you help them with a little bit of digital? I said, sure. 150-year-old brand. They had no social strategy. So I started helping them. They said, can we hire you? I said, I don't know. Hold on. CBS, can they hire me? Yeah. And they were like, yeah, sure.
I guess, yeah.
So I was doing a morning show. And I was CBS Radio, and I started an agency. And at one point in my life, I said, all right, I got to figure this out. So I dropped traditional. I went all in on the agency, sold the agency, started working with a bigger agency. And then I started working with big brands like Starbucks, Nike, Google. I worked on Frappuccino, Pumpkin Spice Latte, Nike Running, Nike Golf, lots of really cool brands. So the reason I like to give that side of my story is I worked with small brands and massive brands. So I understand the struggles of a small business that doesn't have a big marketing budget. And then I understand building a team of like 80 people and having a $2 million budget for a seasonal beverage, It's context and contrast. It's very different.
Absolutely.
Working with a small business that doesn't have much, you cannot apply the same strategy to that business that you can a big Fortune 500 business. Anyway, so I worked through the agency space for a long time. The world's largest agency is where I worked.
Really?
WPP is the holding group. And it's 40,000 employees at one agency.
Wow.
40,000 employees. So talk about a behemoth ship. Pretty much every Super Bowl ad you've ever seen came from this agency. But anyway, I was plucked out of the agency space by Grant Cardone's business management company, Cardone Ventures. I worked closely with Brandon Dawson to build out that discipline inside of the Cardone network for 3 years as a chief marketing officer. And then here we are 2 years later.
Yep.
Got another agency helping businesses. At the end of the day,
can't get away from it.
It's my purpose.
Yeah.
I freaking love it. If you're willing and you want to grow and you're willing to put in the effort, the time and the investment, that's my purpose. I love helping people grow. I love people that are excited about growth. I love inquisitive people that want to learn more. You're making $2 to $5 million. You're like, man, I don't need help. I got it. Don't work with me. I'm going to 50 million. You got 50 million and you're happy? I'm going to 100 million. Like I want people that are aggressively trying to always do better and learn more. That's the DNA of the type of business I like to work with.
Love it. So now present day. So what are the types of businesses you're working with?
So it's closing day agency.
Okay.
Because we close it down.
Love it.
Day, right? So everybody loves closing day. Doesn't matter if you're in real estate, medical, whatever vertical you're in. But yeah, I work with some really cool entrepreneurs, and I work with companies across the world. I work with one of the largest real estate brokerages in Dubai. I've got Ryan Serhant in New York, who I work with closely. I've got Glenn Sanford, who's the CEO of EXP and Success Magazine. He's one of the clients that we've served for a few years now. And those are some of the entrepreneurial clients and personal brand clients and education clients. But then we also work with mom and pop businesses. So if you're at $1 million or $2 million, you want to go to 5. We have IV companies out of Miami. We've got a golf simulator company out of DC. You name it, we'll work with anyone, because business really is a format. It really is a template. What's inside of it changes, but as long as you follow the structure and the process, you can create success inside of any business using the same formula. Perfect. And so I'm really applying a lot of the years of experience I've had to some of these smaller businesses and helping them avoid those costly mistakes that they can make.
Love it. So a lot of our audience is kind of in that $0 to $10 million range. So what types of frameworks, if I'm blank slate, don't have a great marketing campaign, but I do have a little bit of cash in the bank, maybe
I love it.
20 to 50K to invest, right? So like they're ready to go.
Sign right here.
So where do I start? Obviously sign right there. And then where do you start?
So the truth is, a lot of businesses in this first break point where they're trying to figure out how to scale it. Businesses that hit 1, 2, 5 million, they're typically really good at what they do. They're passionate about it. They're better than someone else, right? So they've created momentum and success on their own because they've been able to do a thing they love, and they were able to earn new clients through amazing service or amazing products. And so you really got to think about, how do I scale this out? I think the first thing that always happens is you see business owners that are micromanagers, and they're afraid to systematize structure in the business and then train people appropriately to take those roles. So the first thing I want you to think about is not being tactical and transactional about marketing. I want you to think, because here's what happens when people meet me. Oh, you're a marketer? What's the best Facebook ad I could run right now to increase my conversion?
What's the best audience?
Right now, they're like overnight. They're like, overnight, I want success. I'm like, how much do you want to make in the next 2 to 5 years? So let's go real high, and let's think about, what is your actual strategy? Now, I'll meet business owners that go, I got a strategy. Let's just execute. And I say, great, show me the strategy. If you can't show me the strategy, you don't have one. Well, it's up here. This is not strategy. This is an idea. Strategy is a documented process that you must follow. And I'll give you some simple tips.
Yeah, please.
The first one is, you got to understand your data, and you got to have a place where you create it, segment it, automate it, and optimize it. You got to have a place where your data exists. Oh yeah, I use my
napkin.
Well, a lot of people are napkins, but they're tricked into thinking they have a data warehouse, because they don't. They have a point of sale. I have Square. Isn't that a CRM? No, it's not. It's a point of sale. It's not a CRM, and it's not going to help you leverage the current customer. So data. Where are you keeping it? What are you doing with it? How are you leveraging it? We very much live in a data world right now.
Absolutely.
Where money is made because of data. Amazon has 182 data points on you. They know you better than you know you.
Oh, for sure.
Right? Because they're listening, they're watching behaviors, purchase habits, the music you're listening to, the TV shows you're watching, what time you set the alarm. They've got access to this behavior. So they know. That's why my daughter's diapers show up at my door. I didn't even know I was out of them. So Amazon knows you really well. So when you see them surpassing Walmart in revenue, right, which they're expected to do in the next 2 years, it's because they know the consumer so well. They have the data on the target. So my question is, what data do you have on your target, and do you have a place where you keep it? And does your competitor know the data of the target? Because if they do, whoever knows the target better wins. And whoever has the system that helps target them better is going to win in the end. So get real serious about that. I know you're real focused. You're like, yeah, but just give me a Facebook ad to run.
No.
Listen, I could give you technique, and maybe it will help you overnight. And I'm all about that. But I really want young business owners to build great now foundationally, so that in 2 years, the business doesn't crumble because they have to go backwards and fix what they didn't create in the first place. So I'm real big on understanding data, targets, and then your brand. A lot of people say they know who they are, but they don't. You really got to focus on your brand, knowing who you are, why you exist, not for you, that's culture, knowing why you exist for them. Why do you exist for the consumer? Consumers are selfish.
It's a big differentiation that you brought up right there.
What's in it for me?
Yeah.
I don't care why you do what you do for you. That's your mission and core values. I want to know why you do it because everybody confuses that.
Yes.
Oh, I got a mission statement. We're here to blah, 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 blah. I don't care
one cares.
why you're here.
Yeah.
I want to know what's in it for me. And you better be able to explain it in one sentence. One sentence. And then why are you different? Because I guarantee whatever you do, whatever it is you're doing, somebody else does it. I have asked that question in rooms of thousands of people. Not once has somebody said to me, Bug, I don't have any competitors. It doesn't exist. There's always a competitor. Some have a lot, some have a little. But you got to know your difference, and you got to know it's so sharp that you can say it in one sentence. In less than a sentence, what makes you unique? That brings you into your value propositions. So you see, what I'm doing right now is I am verbally building your strategy.
Yes.
Where's it written? Show me. Where is it written? Why does it need to be written? 2 reasons. One, as you build out these structures, by the way, I could speak for hours.
No, please. We love it. No, keep going.
I won't speak for hours, but you have to come to my workshop if you want to see this. Or Ryan could bring me up and I could do a marketing workshop for your group, right? I'd be happy to add value to that.
Absolutely.
But the reason I'm making this point is, one, if you know all of this, great. But how do you transfer this to someone else? One. Two, you're hit by a bus. Or let's be positive. You go on sabbatical. You go to Greece for 6 months.
Yep.
Who knows this? Where's the heartbeat of your brand? Where's the plan that's in place for you to institute and train people in your organization to develop a brand, a target, a persona, to know all of this? The problem is owners do get to know their customers really well. And then that knowledge is never transferred. And you can tell. And here's how you can tell. You should do this in your organization just for fun. Go around and ask everybody, hey, I need you to give me one sentence why we exist. If I walk around this room right now and ask everybody that works here, do I get the same answer?
No.
Probably not.
Yeah.
Businesses are not always organized. And I believe when you think about marketing and sales, it really is clarity and organization that is the key to consistency, because consistency across all touch points. When you walk in, as they shake a hand, when they answer the call, when they reply to the email, the consistency in that is what creates trust. Trust is what closes conversion. And so everybody's like, how do you get them to trust you? Start with organization, consistency, like having everybody understand the back end strategy of what you're trying to do, Absolutely. And so we've seen that in our organization where a while back, it was just me, Brian, Ryan, a few other people. And so it's very easy to communicate and drive down that culture. And you care. Yeah, of course. And we all care. And it's very easy when it's me or Ryan communicating to somebody saying, yes, we know the mission, we know the brand. But now when we have 100 employees, and we scaled in the last year, we've had to spend a lot more time on building culture, on making sure that everybody understands the same mission, so we don't lose, the vision that Ryan has created. Yeah. So I get it. It's so true. Huge. It's really important, because I think the other thing is people think about marketing as like new customers. I think of marketing as like every experience across the organization. Everything from someone that cleans the place. I worked at the Cardone Institute for a while. Their janitors will close deals. Like literally everybody is in alignment on the mission, and they're all incentivized to carry it out. So, I can really respect an organization that has an organized culture and they understand all those pieces. But the other thing is, don't be so focused on net new when you're thinking of leads or marketing. Don't be so focused on like, I'm going to build all this out so I can attract new people. How about super serve the people that are already there?
Exactly.
That's retention marketing. You can get an increase of 20% in revenue just by really understanding who you currently serve and going back and saying, how can we develop these relationships and move them faster through a cycle? Absolutely. And that's what we've done here too. So we get them in the funnel with like first conversion. Sure. Then we roll out additional products, services that serve that same exact customer market. Cause I think, second money is easier than first money? 100%. All day long. Yep. So, and we love doing that. Yeah. So you guys big believer in it. Loyal following. Yeah. Your engagement's great. Yeah. It's
getting better too, which we're really excited about.
Well, I think the key for you guys too is authenticity.
Yeah.
You can't fake that. There's no book or strategy that says how to be authentic. And that's a kudos to whoever hires here. So Ryan obviously kicks things off, and then he filters in a process to bring other great talent. And the more respectful that talent is, the more it aligns with the culture, the more authentic you guys are.
Absolutely.
So that's what I love about what you guys are doing here.
Yeah, and we vet everybody. We have like our 4 core values, train daily, play fair, no ego, serve others. And so if you, back to your question about like what they know about our culture, if you ask anybody out there, they at least know our core values.
That's great.
And then that's the measure that we use for all hires. And then obviously we do a lot more like in terms of skills assessments, all that. But if they don't meet those 4, then they're not going to be here for very long. Yeah. And we do an evaluation every quarter where we're like, all right, are they still in alignment with those goals? And if they're not, then they're out of here.
Yeah, you got a machine that spits them out.
That's absolutely. Great. So, walk me through if I'm relatively new. So I've established, I have my brand messaging. I have everything that you've mentioned so far. What do I do next?
Yeah, you've built your strategy.
Yep.
Like you've got all those core pieces. There's 3 pillars you want to think about: owned, paid, and earned. That's it.
Okay.
Everybody always thinks like, marketing's so confusing. I don't know where to go. Where do I spend my money? How do I connect with my consumer? There are 3 places you can connect with people. Owned, I control it. No one else tells me what to do. Do you have landing pages?
Absolutely.
Can you put a picture of my butt on it if you wanted to?
We really could.
You wouldn't want to do that. It wouldn't sell.
It might.
It could actually. Ryan is definitely not going down the OnlyFans route. There's no question. But the point is, you own it.
Yep.
As a crude example, Buck, my father, who is a preacher, would be he'd say, Buck, that's ugly. Don't talk like that. But I'm making a point. You own it.
Yep,
you can
exactly.
do the dumbest thing in the world.
Whatever we want.
Whatever you want. Those are owned properties. So you've got a database filled with phone numbers and emails. Do you own those?
Yes.
Yeah, they're yours. You own them, right? So you've got all these places that you own that you can create connections. Now, you have another pillar. It's called paid. In order to reach more eyes and ears, people to see or hear you, you have to pay to play. Facebook, apps, billboards, TV, digital outdoor, whatever it is, sponsorships, you could sponsor something. It's paid to reach more people. So that's your second pillar. Third pillar is earned. You don't own it and you can't pay for it. I sat down and had a great podcast and I told 2 other people and they came and joined your workshop. Right? They joined your WealthCon, right? That's earned.
Yep.
You didn't pay me to go do it. I wasn't an influencer or an ambassador that you paid, because that is paid.
Yep.
Right? I was just a guy that sat down and met you, and I went and told 2 people how freaking cool it was that you guys were doing the WealthCon, and people wanted to join. And when they bought, that was earned. The best ROI any business can get is earned. It's also the most dangerous. If I sat down and you were an ass and I didn't like what you guys were doing and I didn't like the back end operation, I'd tell people don't work with them.
That's also earned.
Now, yeah, restaurants with 3 bad reviews because people went home and puked, that's bad earned.
Yep.
And you will not get new customers. So it's just as good as it is bad. So you got to be really careful with earned. But those are the 3 pillars. So then I would say to you, if you really know who you are and you really know who they are, my question is, where is there a conversation across those 3 pillars that you are not a part of that you should be a part of? And now listen very carefully to what I said. Don't go start a conversation. Where are there conversations happening? Challenges in business owners' lives, right? Places where they're asking for help and they're taking initiative to create conversations. Where are you joining those conversations with solutions? Where are you doing it? You're very much doing that with this podcast. They're on podcasts listening, business owners, because they're listening for help and support because they're hungry and they want to grow. And so that's the idea, is like, but this is one, right? And is this owned or paid? It's owned until we promote it, then it's paid, right? We can promote the podcast on social, now we're in paid. Yep. So my point is, plan it out, get the budget, attack the forecast, understand all of those the data points, and then I would say plan out and be very specific so that you have an ROI. Be very specific about where are you going, how much does it cost to get there, and what is your expected return? Because when you market with no expected return, it's like driving a Ferrari in this beautiful studio and you're doing donuts in a cul-de-sac because you don't have your Google map.
Yep.
You got to know, what is my expectation? How much growth? How many downloads did we get this week? And how many downloads do we want or should we get next week? Right? How do we continue to drive that? And then from those downloads, what's the residual to the business? Like map out all those own, paid, and earned journeys. Understand where they come in, understand where we qualify who they are, and where we move them into the next cycle and which platform we move them into.
Love it.
It's robust.
Absolutely. So I'm sure somebody hearing this is going to be like, dude, can I just hire you?
Yeah, of
right.
course.
Yeah, absolutely. And so what are some red flags to look for when working with agencies? Because I feel like every business owner has some sort of horror story of
there's a lot of bad ones.
Yeah. Dealing with, dude, like I worked with this agency. I didn't work for 6 months and I had to fire them. So
first of all, 6 months is too long. You'll know in 30 days.
Absolutely. Okay.
Overnight promises are bad. I call those basement agencies. Dude's in his mom's basement. He's like, I can get you 20 leads in 30 days. All you need to do is give me your name and number. Like there's a million ads on TikTok. Are you a coach or agency looking to grow your business? All I can do is give you 30 leads in 20 days.
I've had to turn down 20 business owners this week.
Stop, guys. You got to stop listening to this. This is not how business is done. You cannot trust these, right? So that's the number one warning is overnight promises.
Okay.
I look for partnerships with people who want to grow big over the next year, because I love partnering with people that are calculated and strategic, and they're not looking for like a win in less than 5 days. You know, they're not looking for a Facebook ad that's going to drive conversions. They're really structured on the business and how to grow that business over the long haul.
Got it.
The best question you could ask anyone, but let's go ahead and just use agencies.
Sure.
But ask anyone that you are getting to help you grow your business. What's the biggest thing you've ever built? How much did you profit? And how much revenue have you created from it? And then 4, show me.
That's the last one. That's
Show
important.
me.
Yeah.
Show me. If they can't show you, then you shouldn't be spending money to get advice from them. Simple. Too many people are getting advice from people that have perceived success. And if you can't say, I drove a campaign and I increased revenue and I built a team and I exited a company, if you can't do those things, why would you get advice from them? That'd be my biggest piece of advice anywhere, not just agencies.
Yeah.
Any service, a tax service.
Of course.
Yeah, like any service. Someone you're hiring, ask them those questions. What's the biggest thing you've ever done? And show me proof.
So what's the biggest thing you've ever done?
Well, I just built a company that had 88 employees, 62 million in less than 3 years.
It's pretty darn good.
I was employee number 3. I was a partner, and we grew it out, So, I mean, that was pretty big. Starbucks pumpkin spice latte. We spent 6 months researching the consumer of a pumpkin spice latte. And what we determined is that this millennial named Heather, she had disposable income, okay, but not a lot.
Did she have Uggs?
But she did, but they were on layaway because she's frugal with her money. So it was very specific to the Uggs.
Okay.
Right? She wouldn't buy them new because she didn't have a lot of disposable.
I see.
But what we learned is that it isn't the taste or the smell of the pumpkin spice that she loved. It's being on the good side of FOMO, right? It's understanding that she was first to tell her inner circle that it existed. She wanted, not only did she want that first sip of the season, but she wanted to document the process with her little fingerless mitten gloves, right? With the leaf changing behind her.
A little scarf.
So we knew so much about, we knew her so intimately that we drove a 20% increase in revenue at Starbucks.
And arguably one of the most viral drinks ever.
Very much. It's a very photogenic drink. The argument at Starbucks would be Frappuccino. Technically, the data says is a more Instagrammable photo. Pumpkin spice is a seasonal campaign where people, they don't, so the pumpkin spice isn't the focal point.
Yep.
It's the environment. It's falls. It is the UGG and the drink. It's an accessory.
Yep.
The Frappuccino is the product. It's the unicorn, the rainbow, the whatever it is. It's the psh, right? It's the focal. The pumpkin spice is an accessory. But what we did is we dark posted Heather, right? So going back to your question, the biggest success, right?
Really quick, for people who don't know, what's dark posting?
So dark posting is we created ads that only Heather would see, knowing that her mom doesn't see them and anybody younger than Heather doesn't see them. Dark posted means no one can see it except Heather. So we did this. We segmented Heather inside of our CRMs across the globe. And we only sent messages to a very, very clear pixel, a very clear persona, a very clear avatar of this is who this person is. So just so you know, the beverage is not out. However, there's no signs in the store. You won't even see them. But we did leak pumpkin spice early to stores in your area. Here's the code word you need to use in order to get the drink before anyone else. And this drove an increase of 20% in the beverage from the year before.
Wow.
So, but the key was this. Marketers typically will go wide net. So when you see somebody go, hey, everybody, I'm selling something today, they're going wide, wide, wide. They're talking to everybody. And when you talk to everybody, you're talking to nobody. So I always tell people, niche down, get as tight as you can. Our ability to know Heather so well and to get so granular with her, and by the way, let me give you an example of data. I talked about Heather, right?
Yep.
Would your assumption be she shops at Target or Walmart?
Target.
How would you know that?
Based off what you've told me.
So that's called peripheral data. Once you know enough about something, you can assume the peripheral that there's 16 other data points you can add to it because you already know if they have this many, then this makes sense. And see, no one's ever said Walmart, by the way. Like
I believe it.
You probably know a Heather.
Yeah, right? I have the whole picture in my head.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So you need to know your consumers so intimately that you spearfish them. So quit talking about let me give you an example, real estate agents. Hey, everybody, if you're looking to buy, sell, or invest, I would love to be your real estate agent. Definitely be DMing me right now, right? Just broad, right? How about this? I understand how difficult divorce is. In fact, I specialize in mediating and keeping peace as you go through this. And in Henderson alone, I've already helped 16 couples in this zip code. And so I know that this is an area that you're in, and maybe you're in a tough spot in your life. And I want to be the agent that helps you keep peace while you go through this transition in your life. Talk about niche, right? What is the difference between that and that? Right? That wide net.
I feel like you're speaking right to me.
And I'm doing it in a way that's building a relationship. I didn't even talk about selling a house. I talked about keeping the peace, right? So many people are wide and transactional. So when you're creating campaigns, if you've gotten to the point where you've built a strategy, really focus in on how to develop relationships, not transactions.
Yeah, and I think the other big thing that you just did is like, what's in it for them? And you talked about that already, right? So you're talking about how to transition during this tough period of time. It's not, hey, let me sell your house for you, right? Because that's, again, me thinking as opposed to what's in it for them, which I think is huge.
That's right.
So that's awesome.
Yeah.
And so when I'm looking at marketing and how can someone go about building this buyer persona like a Heather or their target market?
Yeah. Well, one, you just hired me and we speed the process up, but I'm not going to do that because I'm a relationship guy. Listen, the money's good. The money comes. I'd much rather help somebody than have them hire me. And so let me give you some advice that could help you immediately. People say, yeah, but I'm not Starbucks. I don't have millions of dollars to get third-party data from credit card companies. I don't have a big point-of-sale data dashboard. I don't have loyalty cards and air passes that I can go through and study, right? But you do, true or false, do you have customers?
True.
If you have customers, you have data. So here's my question. Which client drove the biggest impact on revenue? Can you tell me unequivocally which clients have spent the most money last quarter, last week, last month, last year? That is your core persona. Why? Because it works, because they're already there. That doesn't mean you can't invest in a new persona. Doesn't mean there isn't another opportunity in the market. But we're talking about the fact that you have nothing built as a persona and you have no data sets. So I want you to study the biggest impact on revenue. What's the trend line? They were all moms. They were all dads. They were all the top 20 biggest, best clients last year bought trucks, were first-time home buyers. What is the trend? They were all this, right? Now I want you to go back and say, out of those clients, which ones can you still approach and have a great relationship with? And I want you to ask them 100 questions. And I want you to ask each one of them, take them to coffee, do a call, turn on record on your phone, have a coffee, and ask them 100 questions. I have a list of 100 questions that I give my clients, by the way, to speed the process up.
Smart.
But if you ask these questions, really, here's the best question you could ask. Walk me through a day in your life. Really learn who they are, how they make decisions. Like real estate agents, we learn this a lot because I work with a lot of realtors. We learn that the wife is the explorer and the husband is the decision maker. But ultimately, the last decision maker is the wife. So the wife explores, right? Because we learn behavior.
Yeah.
She sits in bed months before they're going to buy or sell, looking at Redfin, Zillow, whatever it is. Oh, honey, look at, honey. And you're like, yeah, right? And then eventually they get to a point where they make a decision. And we learned that they don't ask their parents. They have a peer group of people that they ask for support. So we start to learn. So you see what I'm saying? I'm learning behaviors of a real estate client that's listing their home and buying another, right? And why are they doing that? Learn the behavior of why they're deciding to do that. Because your job, by the way, is to speed this process up. So if you already know why they're doing it, it's easier for you to have that conversation to speed the process up. They just need validation that it's a good excuse for them to do what they're going to do. But study the data, and what you're really looking for is, let's say you talk to 10 clients. By the way, the bigger the sample size, the better the results.
Absolutely.
Talk to 100 clients, you got great results. Talk to 10, that's your data. That's as good as it's going to get, right? But let's take all those questions and let's put them up on a board. And what we're going to look at is, where are all the answers the same? Okay, I asked this question to 10 people. They all said they get up at 5 a.m. Guess what? Your core persona that drives the most revenue gets up at 5 a.m. Now you're building your persona, right? One said 5, one said 10, one said they're a night owl, one said 3, one said 2. It's not a data point. It does not clearly define your persona, right? I'm using an ancillary data point, but I'm saying you're looking for, like, we unequivocally know the person that spends the most money with us, they all do this. They all have kids. They're all taking summer vacations. They all, 99% of them are doing this, right? And so you start to build those points. Amazon has 186 of those data points, right? How many data points do you have on your consumer right now? That's the question. Data equals dollars. The mere fact that we knew Heather for pumpkin spice wanted to be the first to try the beverage is a behavior data. That was a 20% increase in revenue data point. Not that she wore Uggs. It was a peripheral data for us.
Sure.
Interesting, but it didn't drive 20% increase. So my question is, what data point in your business to your target is going to give you a 20% lift? Explore that.
Yeah. It's a good starting point.
Yeah.
Cool. So
and easy to do.
Oh, absolutely. And you mentioned it. A lot of people, they think they have to make guesses, or they think they have to, go through this entire process where you just ask them. Take them to coffee. And that's how we started too. But luckily now, we run surveys, we collect a lot more information. It's a lot easier for us to understand that our target demographics, 27 to 35, male, typically, very entrepreneurially minded, usually has a W-2, they're probably making anywhere between 100 to 200K, and then just looking to scale and invest. And that's how, that's our general market.
It's amazing.
Yeah. But again, it just came through, number one, first asking. Then when we have events like this, we can go look at the crowd and say, all right, well, we can kind of pick it out. So it's a lot easier for us when it's in person.
Sure.
So there's a lot of it there. So you mentioned the pumpkin spice latte.
Yeah.
What other campaigns are you the very most proud of?
Oh, man. So many. I mean, I'm proud of, more than anything, I'm proud of my time at the Cardone network, helping business owners. I mean, I helped a pizza shop in California go from 500K to 2 million.
Wow.
I love watching people's lives change. I love people who are passionate and dedicated. I could name Nike running campaigns. I did a big Adidas with Harden. We did a Harden shoe for Adidas. I could name crazy cool stuff. I love watching a family thrive and flourish because they figured it out. That to me has more purpose in my life, and it just means more to me. So I really do love the individual business owner success stories.
Nice.
We've got clients now that we're helping build out education systems, medical companies in Miami, cigar companies in Rhode Island. I don't know if you know this, the largest cigar convention in the world was here 2 days ago in Vegas.
Oh, wow. I didn't.
My client was here, and I'm helping him just blow the doors off his e-com right now. Wow. So those are the kind of things, they may not be as sexy as a Harden shoe, right? But these are American business owners.
And it probably feels like you're making a way bigger impact, right?
It just does. It just feels better, man, to have people feel that way, help change their lives.
Absolutely.
So
that's awesome.
Yeah.
And so we've talked a lot about strategy and, just building out the early stages of campaigns. So now I'm a business owner. I'm doing 10 mil plus a year. So what's next? Is it so too broad of a question that there isn't really a great answer, or what do you think? Like, what do I do if I'm like $10 million in revenue? I want to go to 50.
Yeah. Well, context and contrast.
Yeah. Right.
I've met $100 million business that brings home 2.
Yeah.
So my question is, what's your profit? Not what's your revenue?
Yeah.
Because revenue is a facade.
Absolutely.
Revenue doesn't mean anything. You could be pushing $100 million of revenue and literally going broke. I've met them.
We know them. Yeah.
I've met business owners. So my first question would be, what's your profit margin? And then what are you trying to grow into? So I would look at statistics. I would say, where were you? Where are you at? And where are you going? And where are we trying to go? And then as you hit those bigger breakpoints, it is a really good question, by the way, because at some point you hit 2 challenges, breakpoints in the business. You hit a technology breakpoint. You can only scale as fast as the tech can keep up with. And you hit a talent breakpoint. So I think this could probably be some of the best advice that I drop on this podcast for you.
Perfect.
Is marketing is not about your product or service. It's about magnetizing, John Maxwell, law of magnetism. It's about magnetizing better talent to your organization. No one's building a marketing strategy. They're like, well, I'm going to build a funnel and I'm going to convert with my, I got, I'm working on a real cool loss leader right now. And I got an ebook I'm putting out.
We got these tripwires, these VSLs.
Yeah, like everything, right? Like, dude, where are you inspiring cool people to come work with you? Where is that campaign? Did you build a landing page for that campaign? Where, literally, where is it? It's unbelievable. I have so much success with recruitment marketing.
Yes.
I've got such a great strategy for it. But I need leaders in those organizations to learn how to tell stories and magnetize people to them with big success. And so as you hit 10 million, your number one issue is going to be attracting better talent, instilling better leadership, and tracking better KPIs. That's I'm telling you, the bigger you get, the data becomes more important.
Yeah.
The data is always important, but you can do $1 million or $2 million with no data.
Oh, totally.
Just making pizzas, whatever it is. You just Mama's Bakery. You just making cupcakes. $2 million a year. I don't have a CRM. I got to 2 million without one, and they're just like, I'm good. Like, no, you're not. No, you're not. You're gonna need one. You will break. There is a breaking point.
Absolutely.
You can only do so much.
I agree 100%. And that's over the last 3 years. That's what we've seen too, right? We when I started with the company, we had no systems. CRM was terrible. We weren't recording phone calls. All the stuff that you need to start doing once you scale to, go to 8 figures and then hopefully, 9 figures at some point too. And we've been lucky now that we've been able to attract good talent just because of, Ryan's brand and, people want to come work with us. But it all comes back to what you talked about earlier, where we establish our core values, where we establish, who we are in our messaging, and people want to get behind what we're doing. So it makes it a lot easier.
I love
it.
Congrats on the success. That's huge.
Thank you. Yeah. And we're early, so we're excited for sure.
Got a long way to go.
Yeah. We might end up working with you. So we'll see.
What do you mean might?
Yeah.
When will we work?
Yeah, right. This is the beginning.
Well, I do want to mention this. Ryan is coming to Dallas.
Yes.
So he's coming October 6th. Successunleashed.com is the website. Dude, you ready for this stage?
Yeah.
Gary V. Andy Elliott is going to kick off. He's going to blow the socks off this audience.
Yeah, I'm excited to see him tomorrow at WealthCon as well.
Be at WealthCon here. So by the time you watch this, you missed WealthCon, first of all.
Shame on you.
Unless this publishes now.
Yeah, well, it won't. But
okay, then you missed it. But October 6th, Andy Elliott will be there. Jesse Itzler. You know Jesse?
Yep.
Huge success.
Yeah.
Not just his beautiful wife that he married, right? But
probably his best success.
Really, I'm sure he says it is. But his NetJet company and selling it to Warren Buffett, and and then we've got Ryan, obviously, and then we've got Bradley is going to be there October 6th. Successunleashed.com, and then Gary V wraps up the day.
Oh, it's going to be huge.
You coming?
Yeah. So I typically travel a lot with Ryan for a lot of these things. So I'm actually really excited to go.
I'll see you guys in Dallas. Yeah, October 6th. It's at the Omni. And we do have a dinner that I know you and Ryan will be at. So the dinner is after the event. And there are only 20 seats to sit down with Gary and Jesse and Ryan and Brad.
It's a huge room.
It's a big room. Only 20 seats.
I know people would pay a lot of money to be in that room.
And honestly, it's not a lot of money.
Yeah. So I'm sure whatever it is, they're going to get way more value. They're probably going to get 10x the value.
I was just on Bradley's podcast and he mentioned this. He said, it's not even about us. The guys paying in the room, those are the guys you want to meet.
Yes.
You're getting in the room with the qualified high end. He's like, you go to that dinner to meet other people, not to meet the guys.
Totally.
That are, you know.
Yeah, and so like we do a golf mastermind the Friday after our WealthCon, and it's $10K to go, and so it's not cheap. And after these people already spent between 5 to 10 to get here and pay the ticket, and it's the same thing. You're in the room with the right kinds of people, and the people who are paying here to go. Obviously, number one, they can afford it, but they already see the value in networking, and that's why they're there. They want to make the connections with you, so it's huge.
So my partner there, his name's Brian McCauley. He's the largest lender in Dallas. Dude's just a beast. He just owns real estate in Dallas. When it comes to lending, that's where everybody's going. So he's running this event, and he's going to be in that room. So if you're a real estate person, you got to meet Brian McCauley when you're there. This is the guy that's responsible for bringing these powerhouses into Dallas. And so I want to make sure that you and Ryan spend some time with him. When you
we'll definitely have to go chat. So quickly switching gears. So we've talked a lot about the marketing strategy. I also want to learn more about, and it's kind of tied into business strategy too. But I want to learn more about how you run your businesses as an effective leader. So how, would you, first of all, it sounds like you are a great leader, right? You've been able to.
I can always improve.
Everybody can. And that's
my biggest challenge is patience, but I'm working on it, brother. I'm working on it.
And anybody who says they're working on it, at least you're trying, and at least you're self-aware. And I think that's absolutely. So how did you navigate that in the early years, and how do you feel like you've changed now?
In the early years. I'm sorry. Do we cuss on this podcast?
It's okay. You can get
bleep it.
You got one more, and then we got to bleep it after
Nickel
that.
Jar. Nickel jar. I was a horrible leader in the beginning. I think, when I started a company in the beginning, there wasn't a lot of thought leadership on how to be a great leader. It's everywhere now. You can learn from people who've done it, right? So in the beginning, I was so focused on you thought leaders were in charge. It took me forever to realize I wasn't in charge. Right? That leadership is not about brute force. It's about inspiration, and it's about taking care of people. And it's about developing people, putting them in the right place. I think one of the best things I learned from Grant when working with Grant Cardone was accountability. If anything goes wrong, it is my fault. Wake up and repeat that statement. When it goes wrong, it is my fault.
100%.
It's not the employees. You put them in the wrong place. No, you don't understand. They're a crap employee. I put them in the right place. I gave them the right vehicle, the right opportunity. Your interview process sucks. You brought someone in that didn't fit the culture, and that's why they failed. No, I'm telling you, I have this great interview. Okay, your goals aren't connected correctly. It is your fault. Once you realize it's your fault, leadership becomes a lot easier.
That's huge. And that's big with us too. We look at it and we're like, same thing. At the end of the day, no matter what, if it didn't work out, you failed them in some way, shape, or form. Even if they weren't the right fit, like you said, that your interview process sucks and they shouldn't have even made it in the first place.
It's just somewhere along the lines, you did something.
But unfortunately, at the end of the day, one of you's got to go. And you're the business owner. So, but again, you can't take that lightly because it's it's someone else's life, and it's huge when you start impacting all these other people, and now they have to go make decisions. So you got to be very rigorous in your hiring process.
So true. Man.
So you got that. Now, how would the people who you lead, how would they categorize you as a leader?
You want to bring Rachel in? You want to ask
Rachel?
What is it? Categorize me. She's doing media behind the scenes right now. Careful. I'm kidding. Whatever you want to say.
Your job is on the line.
He's an ass. Nurtures growth, and he likes to get to know you.
Oh, that's good.
Nurtures growth.
For people who didn't hear, nurtures growth, and he likes to get to know you. And would you authentic?
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah. Really
now,
tracking.
One thing to improve on.
One thing to improve on.
Oh, that's
Patience.
good. Patience.
Yep.
She knows.
Yeah.
I'm open about it.
But out of all the things that a leader could improve on, I think patience is actually a good one, right? Because you want to move quickly, and obviously it's served you in a lot of ways too, right? So,
well, I think what I learned over the last 2 years really well is if you do DISC assessments or personally, you said you do. So learning that, and I think this was tough for me. Wait, what do you mean everybody shouldn't be like me?
Yeah.
A lot of people are not like you, and they never will be. It's not in the DNA. It never can be. They're very different. So you talk to them differently. You act differently. You reply differently. You explain things differently. So I've been learning a lot of those driver personalities, a lot of those, influencer personalities. You just got to understand how to work with people. Once you do that, it's a puzzle. Once that puzzle locks, you're fluid.
Yeah.
It's so much easier.
It's so hard to, I remember like early on trying to have a one size fits all solution for every. Yeah, it's like, dude, you're either coming with me or you're not.
Micromanage.
And yeah, I'll see you later.
Yeah,
right. Or
everybody
like
do this.
And I know a lot of entrepreneurs that we talk to. They struggle with when they make their first few hires and they don't do the job the way it's supposed to be done or the way they think it's supposed to be done.
Yeah,
they just kick them to the curb. Like, you know what, I'm gonna do it myself.
That's
no
right.
one can do it as good as me, and they never scale. They never grow.
Yeah.
And so, did you have that problem when you were starting out?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
No question. I lost good people. Yeah, back in the day. You know, but you got to do that. You got to go through that to get where you're at.
Yeah.
You know,
because I mean, all the books in the world can tell you the right thing, but
yeah,
you're still going to make those mistakes.
No question. Yeah, no, dude, I was a perfect entrepreneur from the day I started.
Yeah, of course.
I was born and I made $1 million in my first year when I was 16.
I feel like everybody's that way, right? Right? Like we haven't made a single mistake.
Does anybody say that honestly?
No.
I don't know.
I hope not. I mean, maybe some of these social media gurus that you were talking about, the ones that get
the basement agency.
Yeah, basement agencies.
When I was 12, I was doing 10 million, and I can get you 30 calls in less than 30 days.
I love it. So we're almost at time because I know I got to get to a dinner for WealthCon.
Yeah, man.
But one last piece of advice to leave our audience with.
If you knew you couldn't fail, what would you do?
Boom. Mike, as Bradley likes to say, bomb dropped.
Bomb dropped.
Boom. Cool, man. Well, I appreciate it. Thanks so much for being on.
Thank you, bro.
And we'll talk soon.
I appreciate it. Yeah.